Bitcoin was going down, altcoins kept falling, and the big question is, are we ever going to see a big alt season that we want? And I've been in the space for years and I know how hard it is to be holding your altcoins during these times. However, in this video we're going to discuss the final altcoin crash that is currently happening before the actual bull run happens. Before we're going to continue, I would like to ask you for a small favor, which is to subscribe to this channel. We've had a lot of new subscribers coming in, but also to subscribe to our podcast channel. That still needs to grow. And if we can grow our podcast channel and the audience, we can also get better guests. And we had Sergey, we had Stani in the office here, the founder of Aave. We had Raoul Paul, Willem Middelkoop. And we're planning to do way more content there, perhaps even doing podcasts somewhere in the world to make it more offline conversations, which bring a lot more energy. But in order to get there, we need you to join the community. So make sure to subscribe to our podcast channel as well. And thank you very much and welcome to the community. Also, thank you very much for all the kind comments when it comes to my eczema. I've been reading through them. I've seen some very drastic ones. I'm currently working on it. And if there's something that I can do that I've seen in the comments, I'll make sure to notify those people. But thank you very much for bringing that up. Now, regarding the podcast, who do you want to have in the podcast as a guest? Let me know in the comments beneath and I'll check the list and see what is possible. We've got some big ones coming up. And there is also something big coming up with the market, which is the fact that the markets are actually doing quite good in the sense that we try to break back upwards. August has been bad. August has been giving a negative return for almost all assets, except for Ether. Bitcoin has been going down by 9%, and that has resulted into a pretty negative month, which we have been covering. And in the previous weeks, we have been seeing that Bitcoin wanted to break through the 112k resistance zone, wanted to break through the 20-day MA, and it seems like we're going to get there, but the altcoins are still struggling. They are still around the all-time lows, and especially when you look at the Bitcoin pairs of those, they are lagging behind heavily. And that's why in this video we dive a little bit more into the context of where we are in the cycle, which is the fact that we are not at the end of the bull market, we are actually at the start of a bull market. And I've been checking some other people that are providing nice summaries or charts, and one of them is Julien, which I've been covering on this channel quite often. Julien Bittel was basically one of the team members of Raoul, and he is making a very nice summary on the economics or the macroeconomics at this point. We've just had a very negative job reversal taking place in the sense that we had a negative one where it has been corrected by more or close to 1 million jobs, which is the worst reversal ever, more terrible than 2008 and COVID, which indicates that we are nowhere near any peak bull market euphoria. And in that sense, we can look at a few charts that Julien has been providing. And basically the first one is the GMI Composite US Sentiment Index, which indicates that if you're basically on the lows, it is crisis period. If you're on the highs, it is a great period. And as you can see, we've had a pretty heavy low in 2020. We've had a pretty substantial high in 2021, and currently we are nowhere near any of these two. In 2017, we've also been very positive in the sentiment index, but at this point we are more or less in a negative area, indicating that there is no peak bull market euphoria at this point. And the second one is a chart which provides the 9-month lead of the percentage of central banks cutting rates and what that will do to the first chart that I've just shown. In this sense, we are very likely going to see multiple rate cuts coming in, and the bad job data is actually going to give additional arguments for that. And if that is happening, the sentiment is going to be more positive and the business cycle is going to be great. And that would fuel the entire bull market on the crypto markets, in a sense that we are finally going to be getting into a positive sentiment, which we haven't been. Which basically is also his conclusion. At the end of the long read, he says that it isn't late cycle, it is early cycle, which is going to be transitioning into mid-cycle. So early cycle is basically Q1 2020 or anywhere in 2016, which was also a recession period. So not only from the crypto perspective, but also on the Web2 perspective and the macro perspective, we are seeing that we are building up a new cycle. And a lot of people are saying, yes, within 50 days, the bull market is over. But there is no argument that it's going to be over except for the halving of Bitcoin. All the other arguments are signaling that we are in a way longer cycle. And these charts are actually providing those arguments. For instance, the one that TechDev has been providing is by far the best visual that we can get, which are two business cycle signals, which I've just discussed based on Julien, and then the price of Bitcoin. And as you can see, the length of the negative business cycles is getting longer and longer. But also the positive business cycle is more explosive, which means that if we look at the current stage of the cycle, then you don't want to have those green bars. You want to have extended red bars, and red bars are signaling that we're going to get towards a peak. And what he's saying here is the same. Bear market while reds decline, bull market ramp when bars green, goes parabolic when bars go to red. And in that sense, as you can see in the visual, we are still making long green bars. The second signal on the bottom is still signaling the lowest point in the last 10 years or 12 years. So there is no bull market at this point. We are getting towards the bull market at this point. While 4 years ago at this point in time, we were peaking with the red bars. So where are we? We are at the first month or the first 2 months of 2020. We are in the middle of 2016. Or we are in 2012, which means that we still have at least a year to go, perhaps even 2 years to go from here when it comes to the bull market of crypto. And then if we look at the Ethereum chart, it has finally been breaking above the 20-week MA against Bitcoin. And that's the first time this is taking place in more than 3 years. So that's a sign of market reversal. And those market reversals are not happening for 2 or 3 months. It is a multi-year path that we're going to be taking. So in that sense, if we have all these arguments, then we can see that we're actually building up towards a big breakout. And that's also what we're seeing on the altcoin markets during this period. And that's why they keep on falling. So I'm going to look at the altcoin charts in the next part. This is not just another crypto event. This is where we improve your game. On September the 18th, I'm partnering up with OKX to host an exclusive crypto trading masterclass in Amsterdam. Whether you are a beginner, whether you are an experienced trader, this is where you will learn everything to improve your own game. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get a 1-hour masterclass by me with my trading strategy and my experience in the markets. We're going to do a Q&A where you can ask all the questions that you have to improve your game. And we're doing an OKX live demo of all the advanced tools that the platform can give to you as a trader. And of course, you're going to network with like-minded people, and we're going to provide food and drinks to make it a great evening. Only 120 spots. It's completely free. It's one night of exclusive content and information that you need to use. Make sure to sign up today to OKX and be part of this exclusive event. Ethereum has been breaking above the 20-week MA on the USD pair and on the Bitcoin pair. And as you know, you generally first want to see Bitcoin go up. We've had a very extended version of that, and the ETF has actually been giving new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Then secondly, you want to see Ethereum start to break out. And then it's all a question of when are the altcoins going to be breaking out. And I've got some examples here of charts that I normally are not discussing on YouTube, but they are quite good to see where they are. And one of them is VeChain, which is basically an older coin, but it keeps on falling towards a very important support level. And that is one of the key triggers. Historically, if you're buying VeChain on any of these support levels over the past 2 years and you were selling it during the pump, congratulations, you would have had a great return. And that also says that we need to be more active with the altcoin portfolio. But what you can see here is that we basically make lower highs and lower lows until we reach the higher time frame support and until we get a squeeze taking place where once it's going to be breaking above the 20-week MA, that is where the bull market starts to trigger. So in this sense, we are on the edge of doing that, while we've just had another sort of crash taking place in which we constantly have been falling back towards the support level. So we are getting there. ETH did it. VeChain is likely going to do it as well. If we look at the Bitcoin valuation, it's quite similar. It has been falling down for more than 3 years now. And once it starts to crack this MA, the 20-week MA, as we can see, we can start getting into an uptrend which is not going to be ending in 1 to 2 months. That's going to be a longer period of time. And the same can be said for Optos. I've seen a lot of comments on this one. We have been downtrending since December 2024, but the more important part is that once it breaks through that 20-week MA, it is going to be getting into an uptrend. And on the Bitcoin valuation, it's even more apparent here, where once it starts to break to the 20-week MA, that is where we're going to get it. So we've seen Ethereum doing it, we start seeing Chainlink doing it, and we start seeing some more DeFi protocols waking up. And those are the first a few signals that we are actually in a better territory. And the same can be said for the total 2, which is the crypto market cap without Bitcoin. It has broken above the 20-week MA, as you can see here in July, for the first time since November 2022, which is nearly 3 years of bear market, which is likely going to give us, I would say, 2 years of bull market, as usually every bull market is longer than the previous one and every bear market is longer than the previous bear market. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to get like 2 to 2.5 years of bull market and then 4 years of bear market. And then this entire cycle that we're currently getting into is going to be the dot-com bubble of crypto. Now, the final chart is similar to the previous ones, which is Wormhole. It is making a massive bullish divergence on the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, the 3-day time frame, on the USD pair and the Bitcoin pair. And both of those pairs are eager to break through this 20-weekly AMA, which is actually a signal of strength, and it's actually still a good opportunity to get into it. And one of the charts that has been going through the 20-week MA and then shows how big of an impact that can make is WorldCoin. It has finally, after 1.5 years, been breaking through the 20-week MA, and immediately it has given a return of nearly 100%. And this is the example that I keep coming back to. All those altcoins are going to do the exact same. Whether or not there is news, it's going to happen. Traders will trade it. So once it cracks the 20-week MA, it's going to bring a big push upwards. We'll be trading that. And secondly, it starts the actual bull trend. Ether has been doing it. Bitcoin has been doing it. WorldCoin is doing it. And all the other altcoins will do it as well. So during this correction and crash, it's time to accumulate your positions. The altcoin markets have seen a massively long bear market, and it's quite painful for a holder to be having those. However, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be way better for us. And I think you should be deleting the entire 4-year cycle out of your brain, because it's only going to provide you with, what would I say, the wrong thesis. And I think you should be more focused on things that I've discussed today. Look at the price, look at the indicators, look at the data, and build your portfolio from there. because the economy is just waking up. We are going to get into a new money printing season, which is going to be also a case where we will be making the returns with our altcoins. So we're going to see great times, a lot of volatility, high evaluations, positive returns on the altcoin portfolio. So make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you again on the next update. Ciao.